hustling. Dude, that's what I felt like all day today. It's Tuesday, ladies and gents. You want to talk about wealth multiplying? Because that's what we're going to be talking about today. Every day I'm hustling. Let's get this show on the road. Here we go.
Shut up and sit down.
The Business Bros Podcast was created for you. Learn from the business professionals who come to share their stories. Find out what's working in business, on social media, what's hot and what's not, straight from the mouths of successful entrepreneurs out there doing the real work. And now, welcome to another episode of
Business Bros.
It's that time for you to hustle, baby.
Let's do it. All right, all you business pros out there. Before we jump into the show, just a quick reminder to please subscribe on whichever platform it is that you're listening to us on today. Give us a like, give us a follow, subscribe, and drop a review. Help other like-minded business owners find value from our awesome guests while we rise up in those podcast rankings. We'll sincerely appreciate every single one of you for it. And if you want to be a guest on the show, we'd love to have you on to learn from you as well. Go to www.businessbros.biz, schedule your time, and don't forget to follow us on all our social medias at Business Bros Pod. All right, everybody, we are so excited and honored to bring yet another incredible guest to the Business Bros Pod. I gotta be honest, folks, when I first looked up our guest, I thought to myself, oh, cool, another CPA. But our guest today is more than just your average run-of-the-mill certified public accountant. He is extremely passionate about financial literacy, and he hosts workshops throughout the country in pursuit of his mission, making a lasting impact in as many people's financial lives as possible. Our guest also has a particular distinction that so many of us are trying to reach. Before he even hit 30 years old, our guest became a millionaire. Now, through his nonprofit foundation and scholarships to youth from lower income communities, our guest is looking to give back and provide the financial literacy needed in our world today. Today's incredible guest is teaching young people saving, budgeting, and investing through his course and providing $500 in scholarships every time they complete it. Truly, here is a man who is teaching young people how to fish, and we're so excited to learn from him today. Joining us today out of the Windy City in Illinois, Ghana-made wealth multiplier, parallel entrepreneur, and humanitarian extraordinaire. Welcome to the show, Jeff Badu.
All right. Dude, fire, James, fire. Jeff, welcome to the program, man.
It's all Jeff, man. This is just his resume. I'm just reading it out loud.
What you think, Jeff? You love it?
Yeah, that was probably the best intro I've ever heard in my life, to be honest.
It's all you, man. It's all you. All right, I got to know, man. Accounting, CPA, taxes, it is not the sexiest thing in the world.
Boring.
I should know. I got a degree in accounting, right? I'm right there with you, my friend. I'm right there with you. What got you into this space, man? Why become a CPA?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it basically goes back to the journey. So I was born and raised in Ghana, which is on the west side of Africa. And ultimately, when, growing up, I had always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I had always wanted to be someone who owned a business, because in the Ghanaian environment, we have a lot of entrepreneurs, hustlers, basically. People who are selling clothes, shoes, apples, oranges, laptops, right, on the streets, whatever it takes to make
to do exactly that.
Right, exactly. So, ultimately seeing that, I wanted to become an entrepreneur. Fast forward, came to the U.S. when I was 8 years old, and it was a tough time, right? That's a whole nother story, but that was a very, very tough time in the U.S. Unfortunately, surrounded myself with the wrong crowd. Went through a lot of trials and tribulations, right? And ultimately, when I was 16, things turned around. I finally made a turnaround in life. And that's when I took a trip back to Ghana and finally understood the struggle of why people were selling. It wasn't they weren't selling just to sell. They were selling to actually put food on their table. And I said, you know what? I want to be the one that helps these people to not only be able to feed their families, but also be able to, thrive, right? And that's where my purpose statement comes in, where it's to inspire and support the super hungry to take hold of infinite resources in order to create an abundant lifestyle, right? So I wanted to be able to be the person who, can take someone who's super hungry, internally motivated to want to be better, do something in life, take advantage of the resources we have in the world, the infinite resources, so that instead of just feeding their families, now they're thriving, now they're investing, now they're making an impact, that abundant lifestyle. So with that allowed me to start doing more research about the accounting field. I learned that the accounting is the backbone of business, right? Everybody needs an accountant. I heard that accounting was a very, very stable career. And so I decided to start a business plan my freshman year in college of a tax firm, a CPA firm. At first, it was just a firm that was just doing taxes. And then through research, I learned that we would educate our clients. We would be virtual, right? And we would be able to create a community of abundance, of abundant-minded people so that we can all thrive together. And so that's where Badu Tax Services, our CPA firm, came about.
Dude, I love it. I love that. Taxes is always the first part. And my background is the reason why I ended up getting into accounting is because the very first business we had, we didn't do any real accounting. Accounting was, is there money in the cash box after you pay everybody? Yeah, okay, that was a good day. That was the extent of our accounting. And so when we went under, I looked at our stuff and I was like, wait, what's taxes? Wait, wait, we owe money. We owe here. We have contracts. What's going on here? I don't know how, I didn't understand how any of it works. So the first thing I did was enroll in tax school and learned about Uncle Sam, why he's taking my money. Cause I was like, if I learn these rules, I can be better off, right? I'm going to get a little bit better. One of my mentors, Billy Jean, he always talks about how once you get an understanding of how money works, you realize that money is the most replenishable resource we have on the planet. Like, it's not, there are people who are really working hard to put food on the table, but they're working so hard for this thing that doesn't really exist, right? This note or this piece of paper that is just a currency that kind of, you use it to buy things. But if you harness the power of it, you can use it for much more things. And that's what you started, and in my opinion, that's what I started to notice as I started to do tax returns. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. You have opportunities here sitting right in front of your face. Can't you see them? Do you have the same experience?
Yeah, I mean, overall, I would say whenever I meet with business owners, entrepreneurs, whether they're current or aspiring, it's always a struggle. You would ask them the question like, hey, who does your bookkeeping, or do you have a bookkeeping system in place? And they're like, well, what's bookkeeping? What's a P&L? What's a profit and loss? And so I come across that more often than I would like. And that's where the purpose of, being able to take that person who started their business internally motivated, right? Take advantage of infinite resources such as QuickBooks and the services we offer, so that they can create an abundant lifestyle through growing their business, finally being more involved in the numbers, being able to see the inflows and the outflows of the business. And so, yeah, I would definitely say that most entrepreneurs that I come across don't have a clue when it comes to their money. And that's where people like myself come in handy and say, you know what, let's go ahead and educate you. Let's go ahead and start grooming and polishing you when it comes to the numbers, because as important as you think your business, baking cakes or, developing that tech or whatever it is important, knowing the numbers is equally as important, because without knowing that, then how do you know even if your business is surviving, let alone thriving?
Yeah, well, first we got to know, are you making any money? Do you have a bottom line that is in the black, or do you have a bottom line that is in the red, right? First and foremost. But even beyond that, like understanding things when you're looking at your expenses and you're looking at your profit and loss statement, you're like, okay, I'm really spending that much on my office expenses. I'm really spending that much on utilities. I'm really spending, like, you start to really fine tune and look through with a comb, like really looking at the things that you're spending your money on. And you realize there are things that you can save. There are things that you can cut out. There are things that you can shift around. That part, as well as something like a statement of cash flows. When are you cash heavy in the year? When are you dropping low on your cash during the year? How can you adjust things so that you have enough cash reserves to go forward so you can take advantage of the opportunities that exist in your business, right?
That's true. That is very true. Yeah, without knowing these things, you don't really have a business at that point. You have more of a hobby, because you're not seeing what's happening in the business. I mean, can you imagine Apple? If Apple were to go a month and say, hey, we don't know how many iPhones we sold this month, can you imagine how detrimental that would be? I mean, how do they know how to perform? And so I would say it's so critical to be able to know this stuff. You don't have to be the utmost expert at it. You just have to be aware of it. And if anything, identify if you need to put somebody in place to go ahead and oversee it, to at least read the numbers to you, at a bare minimum.
When you're growing your CPA firm or your tax firm, it's funny how I've had a tax practice since 2006, and I don't promote it at all, right? I don't talk about it. I don't ask for new clients. I don't ask for referrals. They seem to come because of the testimonials from the clients that I already have, right? It doesn't matter whether I talk about it or not. The clients are talking about it. Has that been your experience in your business?
I mean, for us, yeah, most 60% of our new clients come from word of mouth, client referrals, things of that nature. But there's also a big part. There's also another 40% that come in through Google. We have a pretty big Google presence, Yelp, right? Social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, So with all that being said, yeah, you're definitely right. Majority of the business is definitely coming from word of mouth. And I would say that if it was just that, we would still be doing pretty good. But at the same time, having that online presence, that social media, just putting yourself out there, being on podcasts and, videos and things of that nature, that also definitely nowadays, especially in today's digital age and COVID-19 days, it is critical as well.
So how powerful is it for you to get reviews and testimonials for your business?
I mean, it's everything. Without that, we don't really have credibility. We don't really have something that people can say, oh yeah, he told me this, or this person referred them, but let me go online really quick and let me actually confirm that. Nowadays, people hop online before they even call you, right? So without having that online presence of, hey, we have testimonials and reviews, then it just doesn't, it makes it that much harder to enroll that client in the service, right? And it makes your sales process that much longer because there's no outside third party confirming that, hey, we've actually done business with these people. And so, yeah, I mean, if it's coming from word of mouth referral, they may not be as involved online, but I still feel like they're going to go online anyway. And if they're just coming to your website and don't know anything about you or referred by anybody, well, best believe they're going to your Google and Yelp page to see what people are saying about your firm.
Hell yeah, you're about to take my social security number, my date of birth. You're getting all the nitty gritty from me. That's almost like we're having sexual relations without any intercourse, man. Like that's what ends up happening when you sit down. I always think it's funny, but it's therapy. Right? Like when you sit down with a client at the end of the year and you're doing their tax return, that's a therapy session. They tell you everything. They tell you about, who got divorced, who died, who got married, who was born, like everything that can possibly happen in their relationships, in their finances, that comes out on the tax table. Like you're literally becoming their therapist because not everybody's open or willing to talk about their personal finances, but they should.
Right. That's true.
So let me ask you this. When you're sitting with a client and you are going over their return and you see either their net at the bottom line, maybe you're doing their books or whatever, how do you help them to multiply their wealth? What key things are you looking for to get them to that next level? Yeah,
it's a great question. Overall, when we're doing the taxes, that's what most people engage us to do. Hey, I just want you to do my tax return. We're like, yeah, that's cool. But on the front end, we're doing a discovery call with the client to get to better understand the client's needs, the client's desires, everything pretty much about the client up front before we do the prep. So sometimes we may find out in the discovery call that, hey, this client needs tax planning. This client needs financial coaching. Tax planning is simply the service where we're utilizing strategies throughout the year to help you minimize your tax liability, right? We're going through different tax strategies and we're making sure you're set up correctly if you're a business owner. So what that allows you to do is that allows you to basically avoid paying taxes. Well, in our firm, what we call it is it allows you to maximize your abundant lifestyle, because now you're not giving away as much money to Uncle Sam. And then the tax savings you do get, let's reinvest it, right? Let's put into some real estate. Let's put into some rental properties that can get you not only cash flow, but a nice depreciation tax deduction that can help offset your other source of income, so that now you're saving even more money on the taxes by investing in something that's making you money. Let's maybe look into a Roth IRA account, individual retirement account, that allows you to put away money after tax, right? And then it grows tax-free. Let's look at a Roth 401k account. Maybe you're a business owner. You don't have anything stashed away for retirement, so that money can be invested into the market. I believe you should always be in a market, no matter how bad the market is doing, or no matter, what's going on. You should always be in a market, because by not doing that, you equally put yourself at risk of basically your money not growing with inflation, which is the diminishing purchasing power of your money, being at about 6% right now, probably higher towards the end of the year. Your money is basically losing value if it's just sitting in the bank. So the savings that we do capture, plus the money you may have in the bank, let's go invest it into income producing assets and investment vehicles that allow you to multiply your money, so that you can have a long-term sustainable wealth, so that you can create that abundant lifestyle, right? And another investment example, a lot of people don't know this, but they can use even life insurance, permanent life insurance, as an investment that can build long-term sustainable wealth over time.
We're not just doing this for money. We're doing it for a shitload of money.
Those are the rules, right? I mean, what you're talking about is a bunch of different strategies, right? And here's what I always tell people: you don't have to be an expert in these strategies. This is exactly why you hire someone like Jeff to come out here and talk about exactly what these are. I mean, the whole life policy, the permanent life policy, the infinite banking system, like these are things that he literally has gone to school for. He's doing a bunch of continuing education every year to maintain his certifications, to maintain his titles, those little letters at the end of his name. He's got to do it on a regular basis. You, as the person who's earning the income, who's running your business, doesn't have to know all these rules. You just have to hire somebody who does, and understand that there is a future for you if you're able to put this money away, if you're able to follow this specific strategy. Dude, I also get people who always say the same. They start earning money and they're like, oh, I don't want to do this because I'm going to pay more in taxes. My answer to that is always the same thing, man. You worry about making more money. Let me help worry about reducing your tax liability or helping your tax plan. What do you tell people when they're like, I don't want to make any more money because I don't want to pay more taxes?
Yeah, I think it's foolish. I mean, it's absolute foolishness, because it's like, I mean, why wouldn't you want to make more money? Right. It's and I think that's more the scarcity mindset, the whole hoarding aspect. Let me hoard the money. The money I do have, let me hoard it. People are more afraid to lose money than they are to gain money. Right. So essentially, with that notion being said, this is why we help people transition from scarcity to abundance. Because when you're in scarcity mind, you're like, what I have, let me hold on to it. Let me hoard it. Nobody can take it away from me. As opposed to saying, hey, what I do have, let me invest it into something so that I can get even more of it. So what I challenge my clients to do is say, this debt that you have, or you're thinking about paying off, for example. What if we use that debt, the money that you would have used to pay off the debt, and put it into a rental property that's going to pay all your bills for you, basically, right? What would that look like? What would it look like? I always put a picture in their brain. What would it look like if you didn't have to work another day in your life? Right? If you're
Think with
working
the end in mind.
exactly, and for me in 2018, I almost got caught with that. Meaning I got burnt out. I was the only person really in the firm that was doing taxes for clients. Now we have a team of 20, right? But I was getting burnt out. And while I did have some level of passive income, it wasn't really enough to sustain or make me feel comfortable and say, hey, instead of staying up to 2 a.m., during tax season, maybe stay up only till maybe 10 p.m., right? At the latest. But for me, I had to stay up at the 2 a.m. because I was building a business. I had to grind, I had to hustle, and I didn't have enough passive income to sustain me. So what I tell people when it comes to making more money, there's nothing wrong with making more money. It's just that you need to be smart with your money, invest it in the right places, and avoid legally paying good old Uncle Sam.
Man, that exit strategy is vital. What we always say is retirement isn't an age problem, because most people think 65, 62, 72, whatever they're thinking, right? They have this number for this age that they're going to be when they retire, but it's not an age problem. It's a cash flow problem. Like as soon as you solve the cash flow problem, you are technically retired. Now, it doesn't mean you don't have to do anything. You can if you want to. You figure out what the purpose is. But it's really a cash flow game, right? I mean, what you're describing to me is exactly what I love to tell people. I'm like, what does your retirement life look like? Are you living in a house? Are you living in a mobile home? Are you living in a RV and you're traveling? Like, what is this dollar amount that you need per month? And then let's reverse engineer that. How are we going to get you there? That's really what the plan is. How much of that money you're keeping, that's where you get the CPA to come in to help you keep more of the money that you're making. But it's a cash flow problem. Right? Can I emphasize that anymore?
Yeah, I mean, it is very true. It's the thing about money is you can have two people making the same exact amount of money each year, and one can get way ahead, the other one can be here. And the reason why is because the one that's way ahead, they're allowing their money to work for them, as opposed to them consistently working for it. Because the one that's ahead is working because they genuinely like to work. They're not working because they have to, And so when you don't understand these fundamentals when it comes to money, passive income, then you're going to be working for the rest of your life. Like Warren Buffett said, he's my beloved idol, someone who I look up to. Warren Buffett said, if you can't find a way to make money in your sleep, then you'll be working the rest of your life, which I don't think there's anything further, from the truth than really just that.
100%. And the other thing is, it doesn't have to come overnight, right? Like we have this idea, we live in this, I heard it said the other day, a microwave mentality where we want that instant gratification. I'm ready to invest today. I put in $100 and I expect to get $200 tomorrow. Like we have this idea that when we have this money to invest, that it's going to come back to us right away, or that it's super easy to do. And it's not that making money is super difficult, but it does have its own learning curve, right? It is a risk at all times when you put your money into a market. How do I minimize this risk?
Yeah, I mean, so in order to minimize your risk of loss in the market, you can use hedging strategies, such as, for one, diversification. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't just be in the stock market. Don't just be in the real estate market. So for one, you have to figure out your risk appetite. Are you someone who's more risk seeking, meaning that you're okay with earning more return, but also potentially losing more? And then in general, try to get into, I call this more safer investments. Believe it or not, I believe real estate is one of the safest investment you can be in, especially rental real estate, one that has a tenant that's paying, right? One that has a management team in place. So for me, I would say try to hedge your bets a bit by not necessarily putting all your eggs in one basket, because hey, if the real estate market is up, then the stock market might be down. If the gold market is up, then the cryptocurrency market might be down. So mix it up just a little bit. Try to focus on one, but mix it up a little bit. And I think one of the biggest, most underlooked investments on the planet, in my opinion, is permanent life insurance policies. For example, the index universal life, where it's indexed towards the performance of the market, right? And that, we have these policies where you can have a ceiling, let's say at 15% ceiling, meaning you can earn up to 15% of your policy in the given year. And then a floor of, let's say, 0 to 1%, meaning you can't really lose money in the policy, right? So when you have something like that back in your real estate, back in your stocks, back in your cryptocurrencies, back in your business, you become an unstoppable force. Because even if, let's say, God forbid, real estate fails, well, now you have something to lean on that is protected against downturns in the market. So I would say diversify a bit, but at the same time, try to master at least one of those investments and become really good at that investment so that you can bank on that strategy pretty much all the time.
Life insurance, man, it's one of those things. The really extremely wealthy people have used it to grow their wealth, to lock in their wealth. I mean, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Everything that in the finance market, all the rules to becoming rich, they've already been done. Like, it's not something that you got to go and figure out, like to make it up yourself. Just look at people who are already successful and ask, what are they doing with their money? What is it that they're investing in? How are they structuring their tax plan? How do they have entities in place to protect themselves? All these different questions. This is what a CPA is for. This is what people like Jeff do, right? This is how they're going to sit down. They're going to look at your overall picture with that discovery call, figure out what it is, where you're at, where you want to go, and then give you a strategy and a plan to get there. So many different paths. I mean, it doesn't even matter where you're at right now, because we can figure out where you're going to go and then map out a quest to get there. Jeff, if people want to get a hold of you, they want to work with you, how can they find you?
Yeah, that's a great question. So easiest way is on my website, which is the jeffbadu.com website. Once again, that's jeffbadu.com. And on this website, not only is there a contact me section where you can contact me directly, and yes, I am the one that responds to those emails. You can also find infinite resources, articles, videos, audio tapes, right? A lot of free stuff that you can get. And then also I have my 3 books on there, plus the Infinite Wealth course that I have available. I would say 95% of the stuff that you see on the site are 100% free. And you can contact me on that site. So the jeffbadu.com, once again, jeffbadu.com website is the best place to reach me. And then you also, thank you for putting the Instagram, the IG on there at jbadu32, JBADU 32. So appreciate that.
Dude, money. Like that's one of my favorite topics to talk about. And it's funny because I'm not a huge spender, right? I don't spend a lot, but I love to take some risks. And it's not really gambling if it's an investment opportunity with the potential to come out. I know that there's an inherent risk with every single investment that happens. And my risks get bigger and bigger as my education gets bigger and bigger, right? As I learn more about specific industries, as I've dabbled in and made smaller investments, as I've worked with mentors who are already in these types of industries who are doing those things, my tolerance for risk increases as I do those things. Dude, you are literally helping people do that with all the content that you have on your website, with the discovery calls and the services that you're providing. You know, it's an amazing thing, and I give you kudos for that. What's probably one of the greatest moments that you can think of, maybe a light bulb moment or a client story, where you see after you've educated them make that 180-degree turn and start making their way uphill?
Yeah, I mean, I would say there's countless of stories there. One in particular that I can think of was, she's not even a client. I mean, she eventually did sign up for services, but it was someone who was always following my website, my jeffbadu.com website. And every time I post an article, you know, she'll read it and she'll let me know her thoughts about it. And there's over 30 articles on the site. Next thing you know, she starts buying rental properties, right? She starts owning rentals. Next thing I know, the next year she's like, yeah, I just, I'm on my third rental now. I'm like, holy cow. I'm like, how are you getting, 3 rentals? She was like, from the resources you share. And so just knowing that, I'm like, man, if other people can just do what she's doing, and I'm talking, I didn't charge her a penny for any of that. These are free articles that she read. If more people were just able to do that, where they can equip themselves, self-education, right? They can educate themselves and be able to pick out, some of the key things and just take that and roll with it, then I would say the world would be a much better place. Now, there may be some people who need some hand-holding, and that's where we have services like financial coaching and tax planning, right? So someone like her who was able to get on her third, I believe she's on her 5th rental now, just by using the strategies that I was able to put in those articles, I think that's a success story in itself of someone that not necessarily had to pay money to get the resources. It was free. She did eventually become a tax client. So we actually do her tax returns for her. So I would say that would definitely be someone who she didn't even pay us for services, but was able to benefit a ton just from visiting the jeffbadu.com website.
And that's how we roll. All right, Jeff, thank you very much, man. It's like that. One little bit of information can take you such a long way. Jeff, thanks, man, for sharing your story, sharing what it is that you do, and then educating the public, man. That's gonna, it's amazing, and it brings me so much joy when I see a light bulb go off, whether it's a young student or an adult, when you give them information that they can utilize and implement and changes their life. Dude, that's what you wake up for every single day. Hey, man, one last question. We love video testimonials. So what was your experience like on the show?
Yeah, I thought the experience was great, Hernan. It was definitely fabulous. Love the questions. I would say the intro completely blew my mind. I mean, I have never in my 29 years of living seen a better intro to anything in life, than what I saw today. And so definitely, keep up the great work, especially with the intro. I think you guys are doing great, and definitely thank you for having me for sure.
Well, that's cool, baby. I mean, you know how it is.
That's right. James has got fire every single day. All right, ladies and gents, that's all we got for you guys today. We'll catch you guys again on the next show, mañana. Jeff, hey, James, drop it on the screen at the bottom real quick. I think it was jeffbadu.com, right? jeffbadu.com. Make sure you guys check it out. If you guys need any tax help, any help with your financial planning and life insurance stuff, go over there, get a consultation, have a conversation, go on that discovery call. You never know what's going to come out of it. See you later, ladies and gents. Peace. And we're out.
Thank you for listening to the Business Bros Podcast. Are you looking to get more clients or to increase your income? Hernan, the business bro, can help you generate referrals through the power of podcasting. And James, the insurance bro with Pipeline Insurance, can help you effectively add insurance to your existing business. If you are ready to create wealth today and generational wealth for tomorrow, email businessbros@csfirst.com to schedule a free consultation, or join the Business Bros Network, www.businessbros.biz.